Hello, my name is Tommi Jauhiainen. I'm here telling you about automatic language identification in texts. Language identification of text is the problem of determining the language that a text is written in. Text processing techniques generally assume that the language of the input text is known beforehand. Google Translate is a good example of an application which makes use of language identification. The first sentence of Universal Declaration of Human Rights in Swedish is identified as such and quite correctly translated into English. However, the same sentence in Northern Sami is identified as Finnish, and only the ja words common to Finnish and Sami are translated into English. As a method example, I present a language identification method called the simple scoring. In simple scoring, each feature in the test document is checked against the language model for each language, and a point is added to the score of those languages which contain that feature. As features in the example, we will use character bigrams. Character bigrams are continuous sequences of two characters. They can be either consecutive or overlapping. Consecutive character bigrams created from the four character sequence DOR, for example, are do and or, whereas the overlapping bigrams are do, o, and or. In these examples, we use overlapping bigrams. In the examples, we have two languages, English and French. We use only the 10 most common bigrams as language models for each language. The most common bigram for English is the ending E. The same big bigram is actually the most common for French as well, but the second and so on are mostly different. As mystery texts, we have two words in French and in English. Les ordinateurs for the French and the computers from the English. When the words are split into overlapping character bigrams, the following bigrams are generated. Les ordinateurs becomes the starting L, LE, ES, and so on. The computers become starting T, TH, HE, and so on. First, we process les ordinateurs, and only the ending S is found from the English language model. It's twice in the les ordinateurs, so the English gets a score of 2. From the French language model, 3 other bigrams are also found, and the French gets a score of 5, indicating that les ordinateurs, according to the simple scoring method, is French, which would be quite correct. The computers, on the other hand, the bigrams from it are found 6 times from the English language model and only 2 times from the French language model, indicating the language of the computers as English. How do we measure language identification performance? Commonly used measurements are recall, precision, and F1 score. Recall is how many % of test texts for each language were identified correctly. So 100 lines for English and 100 lines of French, all identified as English, would still give 100% recall for English. Precision is how many % of identifications indicating each language were correct, and the same productions would actually give only 50% precision for English. F1 score is a harmonic average of recall and precision, and the same predictions would result in an F1 score of 67 for English. This was my brief introduction to the world of language identification. Thank you.